In today's discussion, we'll talk about market equilibrium. What is market equilibrium? Well, we say market equilibrium is an equilibrium where there is no tendency, no tendency for price or quantity to change. And the reason why this happens, why there's no tendency for price or quantity to change, is because at equilibrium, your quantity demanded in a market is equal to quantity supplied. Now, what we say is that the price at which a good will be sold in a competitive market, in a market where there is no government intervention, it is done through what we call the market forces of demand and supply, or by interaction of consumers and producers. And this interaction of consumers and producers will lead to what we call our equilibrium price and quantity. Now, in order to reach this equilibrium price and quantity, let's bring our market demand and market supply in a single diagram. So far we've been discussing demand and supply separately. So for the first time, let's just bring them together and let's call this our market demand. Let's call it T naught market demand. Let's also label this graph properly. And let's call this as our market supply. Now, the point where market demand and supply meet, this point, it leads to what we say the equilibrium price and quantity. And we call it equilibrium is because QD is equal to QS. And the reason why it is equilibrium is because when QD equals QS, there is neither a shortage nor a surplus. And when there is no shortage or not a surplus, there is a possibility of equilibrium to happen. Let's see a situation when there is, let's say, a surplus. What if I say suddenly the producers increase the price to, for example, P1? So this price P1, as you can see, is not on equilibrium, is above equilibrium, right? When you put a price above equilibrium, what happens as a result? At P1, what we call there is what an excess supply. Why is there an excess supply? Because if you look at P1, the quantity supplied is at this point. Let's call this Q2, while the quantity demanded is at this point, which means quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded, and that we call is a surplus, or in other words, excess supply. Now, in excess supply, the producers will have what we call unsold stock. So how do they react to it? And the answer is that in terms of price, the price is too high. So this P1 is a price which is above equilibrium, and that is why it is too high. At equilibrium, quantity demanded was equal to quantity supplied. And now, when the price was too high, the producers end up having what we call excess supply. So they will start to reduce the price. When they start to reduce the price, there will be some consumers who will be encouraged to buy more. So you can see as we reduce the price, the quantity demanded will go up. At the same time, as we reduce the price, some producers who may not find it profitable may exit the market. And a combination of both will ultimately lead to P naught as the equilibrium price. So above, as you can see, the price was too high, and because of price being too high, there was excess supply, QS greater than QD, and which resulted in producers to have unsold stock. They started to reduce the price, and they were able to come back to this point where QD equals to QS. So when the price is too high, there is a tendency for price to fall, or there's a pressure on price to fall. Let's look at another price. What about price too low? Is that good for producers? And the answer is that may not also be good for producers. Let's look at P2. At P2, you can see this, that the price is now too low. Why? Because at P2, you suddenly have what we call quantity demanded to be greater than quantity supplied. In other words, in this case, you have a shortage. And the shortage is resulting from the fact that the price wasn't equilibrium price where QD was equal to QS but was too low. So let me write this. P2 is the price which is too low. When the price is too low and there is a shortage, how do the producers react to it? Well, at P2 you will have a shortage, but as you start to increase the price, you will realize that the price, when it goes up, it will encourage producers to produce more. At the same time, when the price is going up, some consumers who were buying because the price was low will be discouraged and they will start to exit the market. Ultimately, you will come back to P naught, where the price and the quantity demanded will become equal. So the power of market is this, that if the market is at equilibrium, there will be no tendency for price to change, as there will neither be a shortage nor a surplus. And for that to happen, the quantity demanded must equal quantity supply. And that point where quantity demanded equals quantity supply, we call it the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity.
If you like the content you just saw and all the other content that is on my website, then you need to head over to altacademy.org, where you will find more content not only of my subject but also 5 other subjects. So go there.